Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namo Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvasisha Sanyavadi Paschachade Satarini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvasisha Sanyavadi Paschachade Satarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya a bit out there. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So just listen for a while. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, maybe I have to follow you. You can give a note and I'll try to follow you, because you're not getting the one I'm on. I'm not a musician, so I can't tell you which note it is. probably mostly on the black keys. That's not the tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Gauranga, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Shri Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. They were good while they lasted. Nice cartels, thank you. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Shamasundara ki jai. Vinash ki jai. Tigers. Very peaceful tonight. I hope you fed them very nicely before the program. Did you feed the tigers already? You fed them?
No, I didn't. They came directly from Jharkhand actually.
They came from Jharkhand. Yeah, that's why I said I hope this is the Jharkhand forest. They still have to eat. I hope they're not hungry. Well, they can wait. Maybe they can wait a few minutes for the Anakut ceremony to finish. They can have the first offering. Hare Krishna. So I don't know. Nobody really indicated what you were to expect tonight in terms of subject. But today is Govardhan puja, Fishki. Is that right? annual calendar. So, is it not proper that we hear about Govardhan? I know tomorrow you're going to probably hear something also. Is there anything wrong with hearing more about Govardhan? No? Okay. Is it limited? Is my orange bag here?
Yes, my
Okay, we'll keep saying yes or no. Yes, positive. So, where are we here? Govardhan. Well, with your, even if you don't give your permission, I'm going to do it anyway, so I'm going to ask you. I may be breaking all the laws of your local authority, I don't know. Anyway, this is from a book by Kavi Karnapura, Ananda Vrindavan Champu, which some of you may have heard of. We're not recommending necessarily to get it, to read it or whatever, but it's nice sometimes to hear. I'm sure all of you have read the Srimad Bhagavatam at least 10 times. How many have read the Bhagavatam 10 times or more? How many have read the Bhagavatam 1 time or more? This is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean all 12 cantos. All 12 cantos. How many all 12 cantos? 1, oh quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Around about 9 devotees, which is pretty good. How many of you read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita? CC, how many? 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know. I can see 3. So, finish reading Prabhupada's books. I remember one time, this is before, a long time ago, it must be 15 years ago now. Even Indra Prabhu, who is quite a colourful character, and different devotees will have different comments, but very colourful, and Acharya of the Sankirtan movement, no doubt about that. He, one book, he never actually, during his lifetime, it was not published, but he was reading something from it, and then we were together, and actually, this book is really for those who've read Prabhupada's books. I think he said at least 12 times. It's not something to understand from a mundane perspective or a conditional perspective. We tend to look at things from a conditional perspective, therefore various processes, various scriptures also appear more relevant to a devotee according to their ability. It's like food. Different food is digestible according to our ability to digest, isn't it? Food may be very good, but we may not have the ability to digest it. So it depends on the adhikar, or the eligibility of the hearer, as much as the subject matter, as to what is relevant. But this is relevant because today is Govardhan puja. This is not a very esoteric script in one sense, it's just a very exciting one. So, ladies and gentlemen, kindly lend me your ears. We will give them back at the end of the reading, don't worry. But if you can utilize your ears for hearing, that would be probably good. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 This is chapter 15 of this book. We'll just read a little bit. Actually, it's interesting to note that we celebrate the whole pastime of Govardhan Leela usually on this day, or tomorrow in your case more so. But his pastime spanned out over a period of about, I think, 9 or 10 days. Can't remember exactly, but I think it's about 10 days. Yeah, because today is the actual Govardhan puja. And then tomorrow, Indra is like fuming after he's heard about it. And then he sends his troops off to Vrindavan, probably on Monday. And then for 7 days they blast away without fulfilling their mission. They fulfilled Krishna's mission, of course, but not their mission. And then the next day, of course, then he withdrew them after 7 days. The next day he was totally distraught, as you can imagine, and totally embarrassed and feeling dreadful, absolutely dreadful. He didn't know what would be coming next. He realized he made a gross mistake. And what to do? He didn't know what to do. So his spiritual master, Brihaspati, recommended he go and have a chat with Lord Brahma, because Brihaspati knew that Lord Brahma also made a bit of a mistake a little bit earlier, a few years earlier. So you go and see him, he might be able to help you overcome this problem. So then Indra went off to see Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, of course, received him, and he asked him for help, and he said, well, I'm really sorry, I mean, it's true that, I did make a big mistake. I tried to steal away a few calves and cowherd boys from Vrindavan, which was a pretty heavy offence, to say the least. But you tried to kill them all. There's a little difference, I don't know what I can do for you. There's a difference between stealing and killing. So he said, the only hope you got, I think, is, I know that Sarabi very much wants to get the darshan of Krishna. I mean, she's very dear to Lord Krishna. Maybe by her mercy, maybe you can be relieved of your gross offence. So he went off to Sarabi, and altogether Lord Brahma appealed to Lord Sarabi to help. So they went together, and of course then everything was resolved. So it took probably about 11 days, the whole pastime. We don't seem to celebrate it in terms of its, dates, and maybe they're on a different plane, different time span, whatever it is. It's kind of nice sometimes to remember these pastimes and on the particular days, and you can work it out exactly which days, which event took place. And in that way we can become more conscious of this pastime. In this particular pastime, what would you say is the, all of Krishna's pastimes have multiple, let's say, aspects, multiple angles. And the primary one, of course, is Krishna's enjoyment with his devotees, reciprocating loving exchanges, having a good time. And from the position of, let's say, persons who are not on that level of devotion, maybe aspiring for that level of devotion, what can we learn from any of the pastimes come to that? But there are different pastimes. Some pastimes seem to be more loving relationships, and some seem to be not so much loving relationships. But we can learn from all. And let's take the ones, like in this particular case, both are found in this pastime of the lifting of Govardhan Hill. Both loving relationships and dealing with opposing relationships in the sense of Indra. So what can we learn from this pastime, Govardhan pastime? What would you learn from this? Anything?
How to seek forgiveness.
Excuse me?
How to seek forgiveness and how to give forgiveness.
How to what?
How to seek forgiveness.
Forgiveness. How to seek forgiveness. How to get forgiveness, yeah. Well, Krishna's always forgiving, but it depends. When someone comes up, say someone does something to us, something, whatever you consider very nasty, whatever. And, okay, we'll give an example. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Not exactly Lord Chaitanya, Haridas Thakur. When Haridas Thakur was in the house of Hiranyan Govardhan Majumdar, and there's one Brahmin who came there, His name was Gopal Chakravarti. He was very offensive to Haridas Thakur, extremely offensive. And Govardhan and Majumdar drove him out because they were engaging him actually. They were employing him in their service so that he was a Brahmin. And they drove him away because he was so offensive. And Haridas Thakur took no offense whatsoever. None. This is one angle. So but still he suffered terrible reactions. This young man was very handsome and he cursed Haridas Thakur that if one could not attain liberation by Namabas chanting, he said, I will cut off your nose. Haridas Thakur said, don't worry about that. If what you say is true, that you cannot attain liberation by Namabas, I will cut my own nose off. You don't have to bother yourself. And there was a outright, furious, everyone was like, what is this? Get this man out of here. Everyone was so angry. But he developed leprosy and his nose fell off. This Gopal Chakravarti, all his fingers, nose, everything, just melted away. He became outcast. Later on he was delivered, but it took a time. And even though he was in a repentant mood of some sort, he didn't completely, let's say, rectify or get to the root of the problem, because he offended in public. He committed an offense in public. And it's described that, nowadays it's very dangerous because we have something called social media. And there's something called Facebook. You've heard of Facebook? Anyone's heard of Facebook?
Anyone not heard of Facebook?
Anyone's not heard of it? Those tigers have not heard of it. They're lucky. They're fortunate. Practically everyone's on Facebook. Even the village boys in India are on Facebook. Or something like it. So many similar outlets to waste your time, dragging us into Maya. And it's easy to commit offense on these things, isn't it? You press the wrong button, you're in a bad mood. You ever had those experiences? You're in a bad mood and you really feel angry towards somebody, you feel like you want to kill them or something, And that's extreme. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but you know what I mean. You feel really angry. Why they say this? You're the rascal. Or somebody does something nasty to somebody, you feel some passion. Boom, you press the button, you write down your feelings, and before you know it, like 10 million hits. Whatever it is. People have, tuned in, they're waiting. There are people sat there all day long waiting for something to come in. I know because they reply within seconds to your message. Within seconds. They're like, say, full-time addicts. And, if you do something and then you make them an offense yourself, and offensive reaction to an offense does not do any good at all, none whatsoever. It just implicates the situation altogether, arguing and so on. So if one does that, then one has and makes that mistake. Say we accuse somebody on social media and it's either inappropriate or wrong, offensive, in other words. It's on that forum that you have to apologize. You don't apologize to the person. You have to apologize on the forum which you've offended them. As well as the person, of course. That's one thing. The other thing is, which is probably more personal or more common in many ways, is that we do something, you say, oh, please forgive me. Please forgive me, I'm really sorry. Now that takes quite a lot of heart. Quite a lot even to say it, doesn't it? It's not easy, is it? To ask forgiveness. But you generally feel better afterwards, don't you? Maybe you don't. I don't know. If you don't, that means you haven't really asked for forgiveness. Of course, the other person may not forgive, that's another thing. But from our side, and it's more than just words. You know, hey, forgive me, please. Please forgive me. You forgive me, won't you, right? 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 No, I'm not going to forgive you. See, I asked for forgiveness. Now it proves it's your fault, right? Because I asked for forgiveness and you didn't forgive me, huh? You can understand we're not really asking for forgiveness at all. Forgiveness is not just words, it's a state of the heart. It's genuine repentance. Genuinely feeling that we need change. We need change. So in the case of Indra, what was his fault? Now, Indra, what did he do? You could say in one sense, you know, you could say the same thing with Daksha and Lord Shiva, you know, entered into the arena and, or rather Daksha entered into the arena and Lord Shiva didn't stand up, you know. Or Maharshana Sutta. When Lord Balaram came in, you know, you could say, well, Maharshana was elected as the chairman. I mean, did he really have to stand up? Yes, he does, but I mean, in one sense, you could say maybe he doesn't. So many ways you can look at it, but for sure, in the case of Indra, there was a problem. It wasn't just about thwarting the Indra puja, was it? There was more to it than that. What was the problem? Pardon? Proud. He was a little bit proud. And this is the problem, isn't it? Pride. I guess we all have a little pride. I don't mean the modern day use of the word pride. People have other usages of the word nowadays. They have their parades and so on to sort of recognize it. Pride in terms of our own false ego, our own false perception of who we are and everything else around us. That has to change. So this pastime is specifically to help us to realize that and to take the necessary steps to eradicate or to transform our pride in our own false ego, to awaken our real ego, which is we're proud of Krishna, we're proud of his devotees and so on. That's okay. But instead of glorifying ourselves, we glorify Krishna. So let's lift a little bit of glorification of Krishna, which is the way that we counteract this pride. Prabhupada says we come together in kirtan, Krishna Kirtan here, and chant together, at least for the time being. Of course, pride can be there in kirtan, probably more than envy. Envy is usually goes away during kirtan more, but pride can come in. You know, we're thinking I'm the best lead singer. I hope everyone's appreciating me, how I play the madunga or the kartals or the harmonium or whatever it is, how I dress, how I move, and which tune I'm singing, and so on and so forth, sometimes become a cause of pride. Or even, you know, I'm dancing better than everyone else, or longer than everyone else, or I'm sitting straight, no one else is attending, I'm chanting louder. Pride can come up in every single aspect. Envy, which is, in a sense, inseparable, but it's a slightly different aspect of the false ego. But in a sense, you don't necessarily feel so envious of others. I mean, you may do, but it's not so. Usually it goes away during kirtan more so. But at least this is the medicinal process of curing us of envy and ultimately pride by putting Krishna in the center of the kirtan. Putting Krishna in the center of the kirtan. Let's try to put Krishna in the center. This is looking like the full moon. Listen carefully, I'll try to read. Looking like the full moon, surrounded by a galaxy of stars. Krishna, the playful son of Brajaraj Nanda. Whoop. That was Indra. He's pouring water down. The storm has already begun. We haven't even got to the thwarting of the yajna yet, and already he's passing water. Enjoyed blissful pastimes with his intimate associates. These joyous pastimes perfectly befit the enchanting atmosphere of Vrindavan. In the daytime, Krishna tended the cows and sported with his boyfriends. Mother Earth felt honored by the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. The cowherd boys felt inconceivable bliss within their minds as they frolicked with Krishna. During their fun-filled days, Krishna often killed some envious demon who acted like poison to saintly persons. Prabhupada writes that generally Krishna killed 1 or 2 demons before even taking breakfast as a daily affair. It's part of their morning sadhana. We have our morning sadhana. You probably have more than 1 or 2 demons to kill every day. I don't mean out there, I mean inside, you know. There's no shortage of them, right? They keep coming. They're like, you know, Hiranyakashipu, after Lord Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, legions of demons attacked. And one by one he ripped off their heads and threw them in every direction. So it's like that during japa, isn't it? Sometimes. The demons, they come, they never seem to stop coming. So Krishna used to kill a few before breakfast every day. Make sure you kill them all before breakfast, okay? One day, Nanda Maharaj, the abode of kindness, simplicity and joy, and other senior men of Vrindavan made preparations to worship the demigod Indra. I'm sure many of you have or do worship the various devas, the demigods. I see in some houses an altar for the demigods and then pictures of demigods. Maybe if your mothers or uncles or whatever it may be, maybe you have a little bit of... We do worship them indirectly, of course, in the sense of recognize them as great devotees of the Lord and respect them as such. But in this case, all part of the sweet pastime, tradition. Nanda Maharaj and his family are preparing to worship Lord Indra. Why do they want to worship Lord Indra? Why do they want to worship Lord Indra?
Because he gives rain.
To get rain. So that the crops can grow, so the cows can get grass to eat. So there's kind of another side to it. They're not asking for anything unbecoming. They're asking for normality, you could say. But anyway, they're preparing this traditional. They collected many articles and made elaborate arrangements for a joyous festival. Noticing this, Krishna said to his father, "Oh, honored one, what is the name of the ceremony you are organizing? Which demigod are you trying to please? Who is the guru instructing you in this yajna with his infallible words? What injunctions and system of worship are you following? Why are people running around mechanically in all directions? I do not understand the meaning of it. Of course, since I am only a boy, you may not consider me qualified to comprehend your explanation. But if you think I am eligible, then tell me all the details of this yajna from beginning to end. If, however, you think it's too confidential, then still you should tell, because one should not keep secrets from well-wishers, but such details should never be revealed to one's enemies." After speaking so maturely, Krishna sat next to Brajaraj Nanda on a cloth asana. Nanda Baba lovingly picked up his son, who was like a spotless moon moving on the earth, and placed him on his lap. Hearing the sweet questions of his son, Nanda affectionately smiled, revealing his attractive white teeth. The soft glow of his face resembled nectar drops of milk. This nectar appeared to be washing and nourishing Nanda's beard, which was mixed with white and black hair. Beaming in a jolly mood, Virtuaz Nanda tactfully described the nature of the sacrifice. Nanda Maharaj said, "My dear son, in our family line, we have been observing this Indra Yagya for a long time. We experience prosperity and freedom from disturbances due to its proper performance. Our only wealth are the cows that live on grass, which needs rain to grow. Rain comes from the clouds that are controlled by the demigod Indra. For all these reasons, therefore, I am making a grand festival to please Indra. Every year at this time, we carefully observe this sacrifice. Being pleased with our yajna, Indra sends abundant rainfall. The other demigods gladly accept our oblations of ghee and show their gratitude by preserving what we have and providing what we need. The scriptures say that human beings who honor this tradition become glorious and that wasn't you, was it? You caught it. What's happened? What happened? Was that Indra again, was it? He's trying to stop this pastime. He's still having a problem with it. The scriptures say that human beings who honor this tradition become glorious and attain the heavenly planets in their next lives. Any man can attain peace of mind by the blessing of the demigods. Those who neglect to worship the demigods, however, cannot get any relief from their problems. After hearing these bitter words, Krishna smiled mildly to hide his feelings and then refuted Nanda's presentation. You could say it's all orchestrated by Krishna. Krishna's eloquent delivery amazed and pleased the Brajbasis. Indeed, Krishna mesmerized the entire audience with his words. Krishna said, "In this regard, your actions are not justified. The force of karma causes the birth, maintenance, and destruction of all living entities. It is not the demigods, but it is a person's work that determines his destiny." And we came past the temple. What, the temple or what just now? Shirdi Sai Baba, just around the corner, correct? Just a few hundred meters away. I don't know much about Shirdi Sai, but other followers of this organization, oftentimes they claim work is worship. That's the worship, work. Work is worship. This is the Karma Mimamsa philosophy, which Krishna is now going to preach. It is not the demigods, but it is a person's work that determines his destiny. A saintly person, therefore, need not worship any demigod. One may beg so many desirable things from the demigods, but the demigods cannot give one more than what he is destined by his own pious and impious acts. Only those who cannot control their senses propound that demigods can award more than what one has worked to attain. You can say that living entities are inspired to act by the super soul, but this is also false, because every individual is under the control of his own conditioned nature. In reality, it is the acquired desires and personal nature of a living entity that calls him to act. And Krishna, although he himself is the Supreme Lord, he's preaching philosophy which is very common nowadays. You know, even a famous scientist named Stephen Hawking. You may have heard of him, Stephen Hawking. He said that because everything is working so systematically and so perfectly, this is proof that there's no God. What need is there of God? It's all working perfectly. You can twist anything around. You know, Krishna's the expert twister. He's expert. We heard yesterday or the day before, I don't know what it was, how he's the expert thief. He's also the expert, what do you say, deceiver. Convincing people of the opposite of what the truth is. In reality, where is the question of the supersoul being the supreme controller? Even the Lord himself does not directly perform the activities of creation, maintenance and destruction. All these actions are conducted by the three modes of nature, namely goodness, passion and ignorance. Everything is caused by the material energy. It's just self-manifested, so to speak. It is not a fact that wherever it rains, the cause is worshipping and pleasing Indra, who in turn sends the rain clouds. No, there is constant rain during the monsoon season, but you cannot say that Indra sends it. Indeed, the monsoon rains bring mental distress and make people weak and thin. So that rain is not the mercy of someone who is pleased. Do the seas and mountains worship Indra? Of course not. But still they are full of water. Why does Indra give them so much water? Empowered by the material mode of passion, the clouds pour rain everywhere, and this rain sustains all creatures. Therefore nothing will happen if you do not worship Indra. Don't worry. The Brahmin maintains his life by studying and teaching the Vedas. The Kshatriya by protecting the earth and political activity. The Vaishya by trade and agriculture. And the Shudra by serving the other classes. The occupational duties of the Vaishya are conceived of in 4 divisions: farming, commerce, cow protection, and money lending. Of these, our duty is cow protection. Neither in the past nor at the present has there been any certainty about having a successful grain harvest in our village. Therefore this yogya means nothing to us. It is our nature to dwell in the forest and wander in the woods and on the hills. Since we never stay in one place, why should we perform the Indra Yagya, which is not based on scriptural injunctions? O Father, you are peaceful and respected by everyone. You should have faith in my words, for they will remove all danger. Now, just expertly worship Govardhan Hill with all the ingredients collected for the Indra Yagya. This great mountain is not only named Govardhan, but it has the ability to increase Vardhana, the health and satisfaction of our cows. Govardhana, that hill that can increase the health and satisfaction of our cows. We should worship Govardhan. Collect pots full of milk and make first-class milk sweets like sweet rice. Cook many tasty foods and fancy cakes. Bring leaf bowls full of ghee, honey and nectar drinks. Prepare an ocean of yogurt, buttermilk and fresh butter. Build a mountain of rock candy and cover all directions with an abundance of shikarini rasala. Send messengers to invite the Brahmins. Feed them sumptuously until they laugh, and their faces beam with the brilliant garlands of their blissful smiles. At that moment, the Brahmins will consider that the heavenly storehouses of nectar are totally insignificant. Call the priests to conduct the fire sacrifice and distribute cows in charity to the Brahmins. Those among you who are simple-hearted should just try to feed the Brahmins. You should please everyone by making an anakut, a hill of food, with thick dal, varieties of aromatic vegetables, and very palatable sweet cakes, surrounded by pools of unlimited sweet rice. Then worship Giri Govardhan with the proper articles such as padya. After feeding the Brahmins, you should give food to everyone else, including such fallen souls as dogs and tigers. Tigers. Saturate the directions with the sweet music of berries, resonant conches, tumultuous kettle drums, and various other instruments. The witty, well-versed Brahmins will start the yajna with perfectly pronounced Mangalacharana mantras. The entire horizon will be surcharged with these auspicious sounds. According to Shastric injunction, you should circumambulate Giriraj to conclude the worship. Decorated with priceless jingling ornaments that delight the ears, the men should dress so luxuriously that even the demigods would be astonished. The housewives with their sweet, gentle smiles should also assemble. Invite the male and female artists to dance and sing along with flutes, venas and madungas. Bring the bullock carts in a procession led by scholarly Brahmins who are truly the personified jewels of all auspiciousness. You who have the audacity to challenge even Lord Indra, who lives for millenniums, should happily circumambulate Govardhan Hill along with your cows, bulls and calves. Do not think, how can we have faith that Giriraj will gratify our desires? No, soon Giriraj will fulfill all your desires and become famous as a second Mahendra. He will reward you handsomely and make all your endeavours fruitful. What more can I say? Oh, Father, if you want to, you can follow my advice and achieve an auspicious result. Krishna's really enthusiastic here to try to enact this great pastime, inaugurate it. After hearing Krishna's speech, Nanda Maharaj and the leading men of Vrindavan accepted his proposal. They agreed that this must be done to satisfy their desires. Acting as the Acharya of the Yajna, Krishna directed the Brajbasis to worship Giriraj with all the paraphernalia collected for Indra's worship. This, of course, made Indra extremely angry. We can read in the Bhagavatam how at first Nanda Maharaj said, yes, okay, but first let us perform the Indra puja. And then we will do the puja which you were also recommending. But Krishna said, we haven't got time for that. Besides, the paraphernalia which we need for Govardhan puja is so vast, you will not be able to collect it. We need to use all the paraphernalia that you've already collected for Indra puja to worship Govardhan. So eventually he convinced them all. Nothing else could be heard in Vrindavan except auspicious vibrations of instrumental music. Vedic hymns resounded through the sky. The Brajvasis felt blissful, and all the living entities entered a jolly mood from the worship of Govardhan. Hearing the melodious voices of the ladies, the cuckoos anxiously tried to learn singing from them. Ears attained their purpose by perceiving those auspicious sounds. The cows were adorned with gold-plated horns, colourful silk cloths on their backs, pearl necklaces, and tinkling bells hanging from their necks. Seeing their mothers so richly ornamented, the calves jumped excitedly. Nanda Maharaj brought the necessary articles from his house to worship Govardhan Hill. He initiated the puja by respectfully offering Padya water to wash Giriraj's feet. In an ebullient mood, he made the Anakut hill complete with powerful peaks that delighted all in attendance. The peak rising out of the middle of the hill looked like a crown made of white camphor. The multicolored cake stuck on the sides of the Anakut hill looked like stones and boulders. At the base of the hill there were clay pots full of milk, yogurt and sweet rice. There were also colourful subjis, lakes of dal and very fragrant soups. Very interesting to note that they offered soup. And the Sanskrit word is soup, S-U-P. It means liquid vegetables. So the English word soup has come from this event, from Govardhan. It's soup, it means liquid vegetable. English soup means liquid vegetable. So it's a Sanskrit preparation, or a Vedic preparation. Due to its covering of ghee, the Anakut mountain looked like golden Mount Kailash shimmering under a cover of rain. Different kinds of fruits and flowers decorated its edges. When Nanda Maharaj saw the opulence of Anakut spreading its sweet aroma of cloves, camphor and cardamom in all directions, he felt that this was fitting honour to Sri Giriraj, the king of all mountains. Srihari smiled happily upon seeing the amazing Anakut rivaling the peak of Mount Sumeru. Suddenly the playful, fun-loving, indomitable Krishna assumed a huge, unprecedented form and stood on top of Govardhan hill. He did this to anger Indra and instill faith in the coward man. Let's see, Krishna, what type of person is he? First of all, he stops his yajna, and now he's doing all kinds of things to make him angry. You get some people like that, don't you? You met people like that, I'm sure. They're expert at making you angry. Yes, they're like professionals at this game. They know exactly how to get you to lose your control of your senses. You really regret it afterwards, and you start thinking you were wrong, but it's actually their incitement, their purposeful incitement to try to get you angry, get you disarmed. Observing this powerful form, glowing like 1,000 suns, Krishna, who remained among the coward men in his original human-like form, cast a gentle glance upon everyone and said, "Hung ho! Hung ho! Look, look!" By using all the paraphernalia to exclusively worship Govardhan Hill with pure love, you have received his favour. Govardhan, the best of all mountains, has now manifested before you as a brilliantly effulgent person. Please look closely. The huge mouth of this expanded form of Giriraj resembles a deep cave. Though his mouth is massive, his face looks as beautiful as the full moon. Usually trees serve as his arms, but now he has 2 beautiful arms adorned with attractive jeweled armlets. Usually hard rocks cover his body, but now he has assumed a tender, sweet form. Look how that beautiful body walks over the other non-moving form. Moreover, this non-moving form is sitting like a seat made of costly emeralds, but it appears like the huge chest of the moving one. Glittering like a row of rubies, his teeth look like the crown of the non-moving form. The saffron hue of the minerals on the non-moving form gives an attractive hue to the lips of the moving one. In comparison, these 2 forms of Govardhan manifest the same elegance. Govardhan is reciprocating with your overflowing love and devotion. He is acting like a hungry person, extending his arms, bedecked with jeweled bangles. Look, just see how the hill has appeared in person to fulfill your desires. Now, offer respects to him. Whoa. What can we say? It's going to take too long. Oh. What to do? It's 8:40. Another couple of pages of today's events, that is. Well, I'll sit here until we take the mic away. Both Krishna and the people of Vrindavan bowed down to this personal form of Govardhan Hill. In effect, Krishna actually offered obeisances to himself. When the coward men, their wives, and the leading men of Vrindavan saw that form shining like the sun, they raised their folded hands above their heads and said, "Namo! Namo! Namo!" Being overwhelmed in affection, they danced around ecstatically. By joyfully worshipping Govardhan Hill, the Vrajvasis realized that Govardhan is a person. Music from the temples wherein different demigods were being worshipped resounded in all directions. From all sides, intoxicated dancers performed blissfully. The heavenly Kinnaras joined in with euphoric dancing, relishing the music and singing. The Brajbasis forgot themselves in that joyous Govardhan festival. Govardhan caused the entire atmosphere to abound in happiness. Govardhan Hill affectionately accepted the faithful worship of Nanda Maharaj by manifesting a personal form. Anyone who simply hears and chants about the glories of Giri Govardhan, which are inconceivable to ordinary people, will be delivered from all calamities. Vajaraj Nanda, the father of the subduer of demons, concluded the piteous worship of Giriraj by sumptuously feeding the Brahmins and everyone else down to the dogs. He handsomely rewarded the singers and dancers. Everyone attending the festival received precious gems and divinely opulent garments. Their hearts full of joy, the Brajbasis talked excitedly among themselves as they did parikrama of Govardhan Hill. Skilled musicians led the way, playing the finest instrumental music. The languid, muffled tones of bedis, duckas and kettle drums softened the atmosphere with their pleasing vibrations. With their bodies decorated with designs drawn in kumkum, the cowherd boys followed behind the musicians. Wielding sticks, they fiercely drove the multicolored cows ornamented with gold and jewels. A second group of talented musicians came along playing flutes and veenas. Next came singers with sweet, gentle voices and ecstatic dancers moving in rows, one behind the other. Then the gopis, their faces glowing with happiness, came riding on bullock carts that rivaled the golden chariots of the gods. They sang loudly about their intimate pastimes with Krishna. Hari, who removes all obstacles, laughed and joked with his cowherd boyfriends as he circumambulated Govardhan Hill. Eternally bound in faith, Krishna's friends remained fearless and free from all anxieties. Wearing a sweet-smelling flower garland across his broad chest, Nanda Maharaj walked just behind the boys. He was smiling in great satisfaction and accompanied by the leading men of Vrindavan. In accordance to scriptural injunctions, they gave charity to Brahmins at different places while going around Giriraj. It is impossible to find a suitable container to hold the unlimited bliss that the Brajbasis felt during their parikrama of Giriraj. How many of you have done full parikrama of Giriraj in one day? How many? Many of you have done. Wonderful. Not so many on the boys' side. The ladies are very enthusiastic. It's wonderful, isn't it? And many times you think, oh, how much longer? We've done 15 kilometers, another 7 to go. It's like, and somehow or another, you go. Like Giriraj. It's just amazing. It's his worship of Giriraj performing parikrama. In accordance to scripture, as a result, even though they tiny in size, the soul can enjoy immeasurable happiness. As a result, their souls drowned in inconceivable joy. The continuous music of the duckas and kettle drums, which are famous on heaven and earth, increased the bliss of the parikrama. Soon they arrived on the banks of the Yamuna, which previously flowed near Govardhan. Being the glorious day of Titi, which is very dear to both Yamuna and her brother Yamaraj, they decided to take an auspicious bath. Titi is the day when sisters pray for the prosperity of their brothers. What do you call that? Huh? Huh? All at once, I can't hear it. By Douche? By Douche. Okay. So when is that? Tomorrow. Okay, so days overlap sometimes because we're in different parts of the world here. This is kind of today. But days overlap. Sunanda, the intelligent, well-behaved daughter of Upananda, invited her cousin brother, Damodar Krishna, who is always jubilant and victorious, to celebrate the festival. Damodar, who delights all moving and non-moving creatures, gladly accepted the sincere requests of Sunanda. His heart overflowed with loving feelings for that dear sister. She affectionately served many types of delicious drinks and tasty cakes to Krishna and his friends. Haladar and all the boys enjoyed the excellent food, while Batu, the skillful jester, entertained the enchanter of the world with his funny jokes and antics. Who's Batu? Huh? He's a jester. Yeah. He's good at joking. Batu quipped, "Alas, alas, our dear friend, killer of the Aga demon, why didn't the foolish creator make every Titi as Brati Tri Vitya Titi? Oh brother, whose chest shines with the mark of Srivatsa, we count the year in terms of days, so how come you do not have many sisters like Sunanda? who, acting as the embodiments of kindness, will fill us up like this every day of the year. If this had happened, it would have been a great source of pleasure for us. Yesterday's, okay, this is the next day. Yesterday's exciting Govardhan festival has passed, so it is in good order here. Though heaps of food and drink were offered, and although I am a voracious eater, still I did not enjoy as much as I have today on Bhatrididvitiya. Krishna, who steals everyone's heart, with his charming character, enjoyed the simple joking words of Batu as he joyfully ate. Then in mutual affection, Damodar and Sananda exchanged so much valuable cloth, jewels and golden ornaments that it astonished the people on earth. Thus the Bhatridvitiya celebration ended. Meanwhile, so tomorrow, the demigod Indra developed an intense headache. I've got some Panadol in my bag. Paracetamol. Can we get this paracetamol? Indra needs some paracetamol. You call it paracetamol over here? Yes. Stuff for your headaches? What do you call it? Huh? Huh?
Advil and Tylenol.
Different things.
They're different compound here.
Different names, yeah. They call it Panadol in some places, paracetamol, the same thing mainly. But it looks like in the heavens they didn't have it then. They were. Meanwhile, the demigod Indra developed a headache due to being ignored and forgotten by the Brajvasis. We will now describe how he tried to get relief and revenge by employing excessive rains. While sitting among the demigods, Indra felt sad and distressed, seeing that his sacrifice had been cancelled. Revenge! Revenge! You've got to get your revenge. You have been exploited. You are a victim. You must get your own back. You must justify yourself and kill the demons. Attack those who have offended us in any way. Bring them down. Justify. This is the modern day society that we live in, to a large degree. We are in the center. You are a victim of whatever. Unfortunately, this is a common affair in the material world, but we'll have to see what happened tomorrow. Because today is today and tomorrow is tomorrow. We've already gone forward one day, but the main thing is what's going on up there in heaven. That will be seen. The enraged Indra, it was too much for him. That was just one step too much. Jai, so Prabhupada ki jai. So I guess it's getting late, it's 10 to 9, and you've got a lot to do for tomorrow's Govardhan puja, I'm sure. We have Damodar Astakam, I presume, here in the temple. Yes. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nandi. That's like a pre-Govardhan kind of, introduction or whatever, to get us in the mood for tomorrow's festival. Hare Krishna. And tomorrow will be the excitement of Indra. Indra really gets in gear tomorrow. Top gear. But even Indra's top gear was not enough to in any even slightly affect, you could say, the devotees in Vrindavan. It sort of appeared to, but ultimately not at all. It just opened the doors to the most amazing festival of all. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai.